Roy, here we are back again
Here we are
by
indeed.
popular demand.
Oh, I tell you.
Well, I don't know whether that's popular or not. I don't even know whether anybody's demanding or not. But anyway, we're back again anyway.
Yes, indeed.
And a
we
big
are.
hello to everybody that's out there listening to Liz and Roy once again.
Indeed.
Well, we did have an exciting week, didn't we, Roy?
We certainly did.
Had a lovely week. And, of course, we're going to let them in on that
Yes.
after a wee while.
Yes.
And,
We want to leave everybody sort of, what's coming next? What's coming next?
oh, they'll enjoy it.
I think they will.
Oh, they will
I think they
enjoy
will.
it. And we enjoyed it, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm afraid of letting the cat out of the bag here.
Oh, no, don't let the cat out. Don't even let the wee dog out. Whatever you do, Yogi.
Aye. Now you're talking.
Now I am talking. They love the wee dog. I love the wee dog. Roy's just, you know,
Uh-huh.
he loves to look at it, and that's it. You'd be a bit like Cecil, Roy. You know, dogs and all are nice, but keep them back.
Keep them at a distance.
Aye, he's like that. Where I like them in the bed with me, you know. I love them like that. But do you know this, Roy? Before we go into the next wee bit, the very exciting bit.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was sort of lying
Oh,
to,
you always tell the truth.
I do, but I was lying today, so I was. Roy,
What?
I'm trying to tell these
Oh, yes,
people
sorry.
a story.
I'll be really...
See, now you are talking. So anyway, of course, I was lying back waiting and Gillian coming in, and whenever I was lying there, everything was so peaceful and quiet. Then the next thing, the front door flies open. Granny, Granny, are you up, Granny? Granny, are you there? And I thought, oh, well, you'd have thought it was cowboys and Indians coming up my stairs. And of course, then my bed's a trampoline.
Of course.
And they just climb on top of all the furniture and wham right on top of the bed.
And you're still in it, of course.
I was still in it. I was still there, and I was up and down like a yo-yo, jumping up and down in the bed. And then Gillian, she comes up, and she sits down in the bed. Then, of course, the two youngsters are using her as a trampoline.
Yes, of course.
And then the next thing, he starts running round the room, and all I hear is Tia hanging round her mother's neck shouting, "Mummy, protect me, protect me." And I thought, protect her? If I was that age, I would have said, save me, you know. But anyway, she has to get it right. Protect me, Mummy, protect me. As Kai was running after her, you know.
I understand.
So anyway, that was all right. Then the next thing, you know, I started out at the hot press store where T keeps his walking machine.
A walking machine?
A walking machine. He never gets by the hot press door, but yet he
Right.
does miles.
Uh-huh.
And so he started on that. So he was thumping away in that. The winds were running wild. Gillian, she was sort of carrying on back with him, you know.
Sure.
And then Cecil started into some hoovering and cleaning or whatever he was doing. And I just thought, this is for real. But anyway, just before that, so I was telling you, I was lying on top of the bed. And just before that, you see, I'd been reading on Facebook.
Yes.
And it was a thing where there was a couple of Martin's friends, you know,
Yes.
were on Facebook. And one of them is, you call the chap Phil Coulter.
Right.
But it's not.
Not the Phil Coulter.
But it could be one day
Well,
the Phil Coulter, you know.
Uh-huh.
He's a great musician and everything else, but he was at the Tech and all the same time as
Right.
Martin was there. And then there's the other friend, Jonathan Hazlett.
Right.
So there was this thing up on Facebook and it said, this photograph, you know, of a log cabin.
Yes.
And it said on it, would you go and stay here for a month? And there was, you know, food and water and everything was supplied. The only thing, there was no internet, no phones, no computers, no none. You had to stay the month
Just
without any
of those
technical.
things.
So, and at the end of it, if you stayed for the month without all that, you get $250,000.
Oh. Where is it?
So, oh, wait to tell you the laugh. Excuse me. Wait to tell you the laugh. I looked down and hear Phil Kohler had written down, "I'm on my way." And Jonathan Hazlett, he wrote, "Bring your guitar." The noise all started in my house, and I was so tempted just to lift that phone. "Hey boys, I'm coming too."
I can believe that, all right. Oh, dear.
So it just lets you see,
It
although they
doesn't
do depend on
Yes.
that, you know,
Yeah.
they're still willing enough to do without, well, I suppose only for a month.
Well, especially if you're getting $250,000.
Well, I mean, I would have stayed for nothing just to get the piece. So I would.
Oh,
But that was good. So when do you think, Roy, will let the people into the big secret?
Well, funny, I was just going to say maybe we should not keep them in suspense any longer.
Right.
But you were in suspense when you were up and down on the trampoline.
I certainly was. I certainly was.
Okay.
And,
Well, are you going to tell them then what we were up to?
well,
We went to see someone, didn't we?
we did.
Yes.
We did. And it was absolutely fantastic. We had been speaking to him before just about his story.
That's right.
And it was really moving, wasn't it,
Very,
Roy?
very much so.
You know.
So we're really just wanting to share it with you today
Absolutely.
now. In fact, we're even thinking we might split it into 2 bits.
Yeah, because we want them to get the whole story.
Exactly,
The whole
exactly.
story.
So, will we mention a name, or will we just play one of Mildred's pieces and then you can introduce him when you start off then? Or what?
Oh,
what
well.
What should we do?
What's more professional? Doesn't matter to us, we don't do anything professional.
Exactly.
Well, seeing so many people. Wait a minute, you see this book here?
Oh, yes, of course, you have to mention all these people.
Roy, no harm to anybody, but I would need a secretary.
Oh,
You know what I mean? You see people send
don't
messages.
be looking at me now.
See, people send messages, and for Mildred,
Yeah.
Mildred's going to have to get her own secretary because I mean it's hard enough for us to deal with.
Right.
But honestly,
Well, I'll sit back and be quiet and let you
right.
acknowledge all these dear
Well,
folk.
these people have written and sent messages and things.
Yes.
And you don't want to.
No.
I mean, we do. We are very thankful.
Indeed.
We are.
Very
you
much
know,
so.
just if any of you want to volunteer to do secretarial work, we'd be very grateful for that. Wouldn't we? Can we give a wee mention to Eileen Dixon?
Yes.
Because she just, well, I don't. She's probably just been nice and saying she can't wait to the next
Yeah.
one. You know that people have to say nice things, you know. Hello to Eileen and Michelle Johnson. I think Michelle's from Ballymena.
All right.
Yeah, and she sent a lovely wee message as well.
Super.
Can't wait for the next one. And Anna Galt.
Yes.
Anna didn't see the first one until recently.
All right, okay.
And then whenever she listened to it, she phoned, or no, she didn't phone, she sent a lovely message and all from her and Wheels on the Bus Derry. I have to mention me Bertie McConnell.
Of course.
Couldn't forget about
No
Bertie.
way.
Mary Campbell sent lovely messages. And Ryan Dior. Now Ryan's on, I don't know whether you know Ryan or not, but he would be on Facebook there.
Right.
Ryan had a bad spell in hospital there.
dear.
It's exhaustion, you know.
Right.
But I see he's up again and getting back to
Good,
things.
good.
So that's good.
Oh,
that's
great.
good. Linda McKillop, Stephen and Janice Anderson. It was Davy Reynolds' birthday during the week
Oh,
there.
right.
So I have to give him a big happy
Mention
birthday.
to that too.
Well, I'll leave some of them now, Roy, and then go back
Yes, that's a good idea.
and mention them again.
Good.
So,
All right.
are we going over to Mildred now?
We'll go to Mildred now and then we'll straight into our guest for today.
Yes. Take it away, Mildred.
When upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, when you are discouraged thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Are you ever burdened with a load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. When you look at others with their lands and gold, think that Christ has promised you his wealth untold. Count your many blessings money cannot buy, your reward in heaven, nor your home on high. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend, help and comfort give you till your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. And it will surprise you what the Lord has done.
Well, beautiful as ever, Roy.
Isn't that fantastic?
Really beautiful. And funny, the thing about our guest today is, as well, remember when he was a young chap? We didn't even know that. Well, we knew he was a young chap at one time. But we didn't know that he had actually seen and heard Mildred all those years ago.
Yeah.
And he remembered her. And then when he was talking about
the song,
the song that she was singing that night.
That's right.
He remembered that. I mean, I've known Joe for a baby while, but I've never. There was so much I learned that day about Joe.
Well, that's why I thought it'd be good to put it into two bits, because there's just so much information there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we would tell them all where we were. Up in the good old city. It's not a city really, it's just a town. I have to make it sound good. In Ballymena, and all you Ballymena folk, I know rightly, because Joe Boyd spent a lot of time. How many years was it? He was working in the Times, Roy.
Was it 18 or something?
Something like that.
Our guest today is
right.
Joe Boyd.
Very good. That was brilliant, Roy.
Did you like that?
That was totally brilliant. Do it again, sure.
Okay, well,
over to Joe.
Over to Joe.
Over to Joe.
Okay.
Well, Joe, we finally got here and we've made it to your abode.
I am very glad to have you, Liz. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And you know, just when Roy and I were saying, we have been planning this now for a good wee while, but never actually got round to it. But it's great to be here. And of course, I must introduce Yogi. Joe will be the topic today, but Yogi will be the star.
Yes.
Isn't Yogi just gorgeous?
Yes.
Yes. So, Joe, whenever I was speaking to you and I was asking, you know, with your profession and everything, how I should introduce you.
Yes.
And Joe very modestly said, just a journalist.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to just a journalist, Joe, than what meets the eye, isn't there, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say I'm just a journalist, but a journalist can do many things over the years, and I've been very blessed. I mean, I remember when I met you several years ago, I was Church's correspondent at the Ballymena Times.
That's right.
And I was there for about 18 years all told. And then I moved to an online company and now write for thechurchpage.com, which is an online news service where churches from all over the country can submit their news and submit their events and so on, have them published free of charge. It's run by a couple of Christian guys called Philip McCartney and Gordon Montgomery. They own MCC Computers, which is a shameless plug, but it's not mine because the church page is their charitable wing, and their aim is really to just give churches a safe platform to publicise their stuff.
You
So-
just plug away there,
yes.
Joe.
So that's my day job.
Yes.
My extracurricular activities. Well, I've been very blessed since I left the Ballymena Times. I was out of work for a week before the church page came a knocking, and subsequent to that, I've been helping some other guys write their stories at their invitation, and then the Timeless Publishing Company rang me and said, "Joe, we would like your story." And so I said, "Well, what on earth would you want to write about this guy from Ballymena who's lived in Ballymena all his life?
Born, bred and buttered.
Born, bred and buttered with gooseberry jam on
From
it.
your granny's garden.
From my granny's garden. But when I was a little boy, my granny's garden had gooseberry bushes.
Yes.
And spring, summertime, the gooseberries that Granny managed to retrieve that we didn't eat
Right.
went into gooseberry jam. So I'm born, bred, buttered in Ballymena with the gooseberry jam on top, if there's any left.
And saying that now, born, bred and buttered in Ballymena, I had to laugh actually. I was actually speaking to Roy about this, and I says, Roy, you know, Joe really is born, bred and buttered in Ballymena.
Aye.
Because you come out with a statement the other day, and it's one that I use a lot, and people just, that's ridiculous. But you know, when you come from Ballymena, Joe, you use the Ballymena slang.
You do. Well, I am now. It's very intrigued to know what
Well,
the statement is.
Wherever it was, somebody was saying something to you and you said, I'm going to deck them. Do you know, whenever we had the cafe,
Yes.
there's a gentleman come in there and he was a singer.
Yes.
And it was the first time he came in. I'd known him, not known him, but known of him. And he came in one day, and of course we were all carrying on, you know,
Aye.
and joking about. And I can't remember what he said, but I looked at him, you know, and I says, "You're looking decked." You know, and he tells that story everywhere he goes about the first time he ever went into the cafe, that he was, you know, going to get decked. So that is a good Ballymena term.
Okay. So someone came into your cafe and you threatened to deck them.
Absolutely.
So your cafe is actually closed now,
It's
isn't it?
closed now.
We
You
have-
can't get decked anymore.
I wonder. I am not at all surprised the cafe is closed if you threaten to deck the customers.
Absolutely.
I've-
That's the good Ballymena way,
Yeah,
isn't it? Really?
I've now got to shut up because I'm scared that you'll deck me.
Well, now we'll see how it goes, Joe. You have to behave
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
What was the other thing I meant to say to you there? Oh, we were actually talking about when you were a child and started school. You didn't just go to any like just the normal, usually primary schools that would have been in your district.
Yeah.
You actually went to Beach
Grove.
yes.
Yeah.
Now, what was that school like, Joe?
Well, I'll give you a bit of background first of all. Myself and my twin brother Mark,
That's
who
right.
will be very embarrassed that I've mentioned him on camera.
Hi, Mark.
Hello, Mark. How are you? We were born about 6 weeks early,
Right,
and back in 1977, that was not good.
right.
And Mum remembers that we were very, very tiny, and her first sight of us was having us rushed up to the special care
Yes.
baby unit in Belfast. And some stage during the birthing process, my brain was starved of oxygen for about a minute. And, well, I believe I was born in Ballymena and reborn in Belfast.
Right.
So I was left with a condition called cerebral palsy as a result of the brain damage that was caused.
Yes.
Thank God Mark is perfectly able-bodied.
Right.
So
Are you identical twins?
no,
Joe?
we're not. No, we're not.
You're not.
I'm the good-looking one.
You're the good-looking one. Well, I knew that had to be right enough. You know, Joe's the good-looking one.
And again, if Mark sees this, I am dead. So you're actually probably broadcasting this posthumously.
Mark's probably drop dead gorgeous too, because look at Joe. You know what I mean? So you've given him plenty of leeway. You know, today. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, we're both good looking. we have a little sister who's very good looking.
Right, right.
So my little sister Megan, got to say hi to Megan as well.
Hi, Megan. And
Even though she's not so little anymore,
she has children of her own.
she
doesn't
does.
Joe?
2 little gorgeous nieces I have now called Zara and Scarlett.
Yes, lovely.
So they are just gorgeous and we love them to death.
Brilliant. Absolutely
But
brilliant.
I'm getting totally sidetracked because what happened was after about 6 weeks we were allowed home, Mark and I. And Mark was reaching his milestones, walking and all these different things, and I wasn't. And Mum voiced concern to the health visitors and what have you.
Yeah.
And the health visitor said, "Don't worry, he's just a late developer. Nothing wrong. You'll have to do something with Mark though, because he's too fat."
Oh.
So this went on. Mum insisting there was something wrong, and the health
Yes.
visitors and everybody said, "There's nothing wrong. You're just worrying over nothing."
So your mother did have concerns
She
back
did.
then.
And eventually, after about a year and a half, we got an appointment with a paediatrician,
Yes.
and the paediatrician then announced, "I'm afraid Joseph is retarded." So went from "you're totally exaggerating" to "this child is retarded."
Right.
So that was the prognosis they were sent home with. What does that mean? What will they be able to do?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know. Will he talk? We don't know. Will he walk? We don't know. Thankfully, we lived in a village called Kells, and in the late 70s, a young doctor by the name of Jimmy Kenny, he came to Kells Surgery,
Right.
and he said, "I don't believe Joseph is retarded. I have seen children like Joseph, and I think he has this condition called cerebral palsy."
Right.
So it took about 2.5 years to get the diagnosis of cerebral palsy, which obviously cerebral means brain, and palsy is Greek word for paralysis, so brain paralysis. Now cerebral palsy can take many forms. Some children there is an associated learning disability, but for me the cerebral palsy diagnosis was actually quite transformative in that cerebral palsy is, in my case, a physical disability.
Right.
So that was a bit of a game changer for us. And at that stage, Mum was introduced to a lady called Ethel Kenny, who had raised a disabled son in the 50s when it was really
Yeah, sort of unheard of.
when it was really unheard of. And Ethel really had this vision for young people with disabilities who were intelligent enough to be outliving their lives, not
Yes.
doing things. She was one of the original real pushers who got up doctors' noses with quite good reason. So the first place I went to was the Spina Bifida Playgroup, the asthma playgroup as it was called then.
Yes.
And then just after that, Ethel, who was a teacher, had been working very hard to persuade the Education Board and others that there needed to be a school outside of Belfast for physically disabled children. That morphed into Beech Grove, and she was the original headmistress. So I was one of the original Beech Grove pupils. And the thing about that was that Beech Grove was the first school of its type outside of Belfast.
Right.
And it was groundbreaking because a lot of special education at that time, the aim was make the children happy. Ethel was an educator.
Yes.
I believe her job before Beech Grove was a special needs teacher with young people maybe who had difficult backgrounds, and some of them maybe weren't the easiest to teach. But Ethel believed that we were teachable.
Yes.
And so when you went to Beech, we had fantastic fun at Beech Grove. I have wonderful memories. But you also, if you couldn't write, you learnt to type.
Right.
So I, because of my hand control, found writing difficult. But Ethel sat me down in front of a typewriter when I was 5 years of age, and she started to notice this 5-year-old was composing sentences that could have been written by a 10, 11-year-old.
Yes.
So she said, "Joe, you can write a bit." and you'll be a great journalist one day, Joseph.
That's right. She picked you
Yeah.
out at that age, didn't
Yep.
she?
And by the time I was 8, she had me writing the odd wee article for the Ballymena Guardian. And when I was 8, there was this spread in the Ballymena Guardian about this disabled child who was able to write using a computer and was a bit of a prodigy, and actually produced news sheets that were read to his class every day, whether they wanted to hear it or not.
That was very encouraging,
It
though,
was.
the way she
It was.
did
yeah.
all that, wasn't it?
It was. So, I mean, I guess journalism has always been what I wanted to do. And, you know, from being retarded, I remember being told as an 11-year-old that I had an IQ of something like 110 and should go to a normal school, but that didn't quite materialise.
Right.
And I transferred when I was 11 to a school called Fleming Fulton,
Right.
which is probably Northern Ireland's longest established special school. Now, I had a difficult time there, if I'm honest. But what I don't want to do for anybody who's watching this or listening to this who may be involved in Fleming Fulton, I honestly believe that my problems there were little to do with the staff, most of whom were very kind.
Yes.
It was more to do with I was this shy Christian country boy who liked his lessons, who liked his teachers, and because obviously there were kids from all over the country, it just led to a bit of a culture clash.
Yes, yes.
And I was singled out very early on as the snob of the class because I liked to do my homework
Yes.
and stuff, and so that led to a very difficult time. I was bullied a lot at school and didn't really get on very well there, and that then told on my behaviour at home. And you know, I was top of the class at Fleming Fulton, but when I was 14, a paediatrician basically wrote, Joseph's intelligence is below normal, Joseph is slow to learn. So
Oh my goodness.
that was like from 11 being told you had this massive IQ.
Yes.
But looking back, there's no point in being better. I think it was just wrong place, wrong time. You know, there were mistakes made on both sides. I would handle things very differently. Looking back, there were a lot of good people at the school who did their best within what they were trained to do, but it was very difficult. Put it that way. So I left school when I was 17, and I went to what was then known as the NICOD Training Centre in Ballymena. NICOD was the Northern Ireland Council for Orthopaedic Development, which is now the Cedar Foundation.
Right.
And they had and still have a training centre in Ballymena. And in those days, the training centre offered courses in IT, business admin, and catering. Now, I was hadn't got much aptitude for either of those subjects. When I was asked to do some photocopy and everything was done the wrong way round or some collation, and I knew at 17 that that things weren't going as they should be, because there I was at primary school with this top of the class, this IQ and this ability, and there I was learning to do stock takes at NICOD. And now I'm from a Presbyterian background, so I'm not of a Pentecostal persuasion where you hearing the voice of God, but I truly believe that that God did speak audibly and say, Joe, is this it? Is this really it with all the ability? And so I tried to enrol in the local college, and of course they struggled to have students with disabilities at that time. So I, being the cocky sod that I was, decided with the help of the job support worker at the Cedar Foundation that I would go and see the director of the college.
Right.
So we did that. We had a chat, the director and I, and subsequent to that, the head of the Cedar Foundation, the head of the college got together, and we were the first intake of disabled students into what is now the Northern Regional College in Ballymena.
Right.
So, and they still work together to have students at the college, which is a very which I believe God used me at that time, even if I wasn't particularly focused on God. But anyhow, I knew that my clerical training,
Yes.
I enjoyed being at the centre. It was a fantastic centre, some fantastic people. But I knew that if I kept training to be a clerical officer, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I happened to be at home watching TV one day, and there was this ad for the Open University. And I just suddenly decided to myself, you know what? I'm going to do Open University. This was a guy with 0 qualifications, who crashed out of the special school, who couldn't use a photocopier to save his life. He was going to do Open University.
Proper order.
Very good. You know, okay, so you're going to do a degree, right? Very good. So, people at the Cedar Foundation expressed concern. My parents expressed concern, but they thought, you know, we'll let him go on. And, you know, he'll fall flat on his face, but he maybe just has to.
At least you tried.
At least
and
he
that
has
was
to
the main
learn.
Thing, yes.
So, first essay came back, scored about 59%. I thought, not bad. Well, good pass. You know, managed to keep passing my assignments through the year, and ended up passing first year with a grand mark of 47%. The pass mark was 40, but still, you know,
Brilliant.
we passed. So that carried on, and then my tutor in second year was a lady, and she was actually a Christian lady, I found out later, called Jane Castles.
Right.
At her day job, she was one of the senior tutors at the university.
Right.
And she really, at 1 a.m. in the morning, I could have phoned her and she would have taken the call, bless her.
Right.
And she really taught me about writing essays again, and had a way of explaining things in a way that I could understand them. And so suddenly my coursework marks went from being 40s and 50s to suddenly 70s, 80s.
Wow.
Because, you know, Jane taught me, you know, how to really write essays again. But we came to exams and I was still scoring 40 in my exams.
Right.
And Jane thought to herself, what's going on? This kid's much more intelligent. So she persuaded the university, first of all, to pay for a course of hypnotherapy to help me to deal with my nerves.
Right.
So I went for hypnotherapy on the Open University, and that didn't work. I was still freezing, and there was this one particular year where I did really well in the assignments. I was scoring 80s and 90s constantly.
Right.
And they knew come exam time I was just going to scrape through an exam. And the invigilators noticed in the exam that I was literally sitting down, the exam paper was there, and I was just, my body and brain were just freezing. Freezing. And I was, you know, getting stuff down enough to scrape a pass, but certainly. So eventually it was worked out that I basically suffered from stress and anxiety, and when it got to a certain point, everything just
stopped.
stopped.
Yeah.
So what they eventually did was they took away the physical pressure of exams. They actually sent an invigilator out to my house,
Right.
along with an amanuensis, that's a scribe.
Yeah.
So basically all I had to do was, the exam paper was there in front of me. I basically had to tell the scribe what to write,
Right.
and that took away the physical pressure. And because I was in my own home, I was...
You felt more relaxed and...
Yes. So I was able to dictate my answers, and then my answers came out, and I started to score just as highly in exams, and God blessed me with a 2-1. So while all that was going on, the Cedar Foundation sent me on work experience to the Ballymena Times because they knew I liked writing.
Right.
So that 2 weeks became 18 years.
18 years.
18 years, and I met some lovely people like yourself, and was at the Ballymena Times for 18 years.
I remember that long time ago, Joe, you know, and the first thing that we ever needed to be advertised and written about, and you took that on, and just that was it ever since.
Yes.
And then anything we were doing after that, I mean, look at the names and all that needed things done. And we were just able to say, go and see Joe Boyd, he'll sort that for you.
And you know, even when I left the paper and was doing freelance business, I was very grateful to you guys for. But I mean, it was lovely. Actually, I think we came into contact. Colin Moffat.
Yes, that's right.
I did used to publish Colin's poems on the
That's
church
right.
page when I can. If you're watching this, hello Colin, hello Marlene.
Hi Colin, hi Marlene.
Yep.
They have a lot to answer for, don't they?
They do.
They certainly
We
do.
would not be having this conversation but for Colin and Marlene.
That's true, that's true.
I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord. No tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou nearby. Temptations lose their power when thou art nigh. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Teach me thy will and thy rich promises in me fulfill. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee.
Well, what do you think? Isn't that an incredible story that Joe's telling us there? And there's so much more to come now as well.
So much more,
There is indeed.
so much more. I never realised, you know, so much had happened in his life.
That's right, exactly so.
And
Well,
I think,
would you like to read out the rest of those names that you were talking about?
okay, I'll read them out.
Right, come on
If I
ahead.
can see them.
Well, they're in front of you there.
Hi, but I can't see. Sure, you said to me, can you see the camera, Liz? I just can't even see the wall. Must get something with these glasses, you know, it's terrible.
surely.
I have to take the glasses off nearly to see them. Right, I have to give Tony and Mark a wee mention.
Yes.
You know, because they're,
Yes.
you know, the last of summer wine, round Port's Church there. You maybe see them sitting along the promenade, you know. And they're still looking for Nora Batty.
Oh,
Yeah, we have to find a Nora Batty.
you know, so they're batty themselves.
They are. Say nan. Denise Sloan as well from Ballymena. How are you doing, Denise? And we'll have to give Pastor Ian and Mrs. Fairley a mention.
Yes, very much so.
We must give them a
Yep,
mention.
yep.
Now, I haven't seen them for a wee while,
No.
but I'm sure we'll run into them.
I would think
soon.
so, indeed. In fact,
And
maybe we should be trying to encourage them to come on and have a wee chat.
well, you see, Roy, we talk about these things behind the scenes.
Yes.
So maybe whenever we say it out loud,
Yes, other
Here.
people might
Yes.
encourage them.
exactly. So if any of you out there and you know Pastor Fairley and his beautiful wife,
Yeah.
please tell them we're looking forward to having one of these
Very much so,
conversations with
very
him.
much
He
so.
has a lot too.
Yes.
He has a lot too.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Mrs. Fairley one day all about how they met and
Yes.
got married and all
Uh-huh.
this. It was lovely.
I'm
It was
sure.
a lovely story.
Good.
I'm all into that anyway, so
Oh, I know you are.
I know. Somebody was saying to me, Roy, before, I can't remember, I think it was actually Cecil said to me, do you know those people out there be thinking you're not married at all? And I says, why would they think that? He says, because every time you move your hand, you have no wedding ring or anything.
Oh, right, of course.
You
Yeah,
say,
they
well,
were
by the
different,
way, I actually am married to him and I stuck with him all this time. I just don't have a
But
wedding ring
I
on
don't
'cause
think we could get him to join in with us, though. Sure, we couldn't.
I don't really think anybody would nearly want to. They'd be listening to the price of Coke or something. No, I can't wear jewellery.
Yeah, all right, okay.
You know, I can't wear jewellery at all. Please notice I don't have any
Earrings or anything.
anything
Oh,
or necklaces. I can wear like costume jewellery,
Right.
you know, not gold
Means
or
nothing to
anything
me.
like that.
I wouldn't even know what that was.
Mildred, you're going to have to take him to the jeweller's, darling, and make him spend a few pounds.
Keep reading those names out quick.
Well, anyway, I can't wear any of that. And my father, you know, he was a jeweller and everything.
Yes.
And he had given me all the most beautiful jewellery, and I couldn't wear
Couldn't
any
wear
of it. And even after marriage, you know, I had my wedding ring, you know, but he bought me a beautiful Georgian wedding
Right.
ring, you know,
Yeah.
couldn't wear it
Ah,
either. So hence, but if anybody wants to buy me jewellery, don't buy me jewellery.
Costume jewellery.
Well, yes, I like costume. I like pearls. I can wear pearls. Just in case you're stuck for ideas, Roy.
I was
And
going to say this is getting too close.
I know, but you know
Too
what I
close for
love?
comfort.
Do you know what I love? Scarves.
Right.
Not that you could tell, mind
No,
you, you
no.
know. But I love that because I can't wear, you know, so much jewellery.
Yes.
And I would tend to wear,
A scarf.
Scarf.
instead. Ah,
you know.
it
So
all
if you,
comes- it all comes out.
it does. So if you're ever wanting to, you know, so well, how could I surprise
What she's really
guys?
saying is, if you'd like to get her something, get her a scarf.
Exactly. I have about 300 in my cloakroom at home.
There you go.
And then when I say to Cecil, I need such and such a scarf, what one's that? You know? And anyway, who else? Oh, hi, Bobby and Isa. Can't read my own writing. Lewis?
That's what I was going to say.
Aye. Keep me right here, Roy.
Okay.
And we see, oh, Billy McFarlane
Ah, right.
and Nan, they were married 60
Yes, I
years.
noticed
Did you
that
see
I saw it
that?
up on Facebook, I didn't they?
60 years.
Powerful.
It's absolutely brilliant, you know.
It certainly is.
And he's looking that well,
Uh-huh.
you know. But he went through a hard time there,
Yeah,
Roy. He really did. So, but one of the best people.
Well,
it
Mildred
really
and I
is.
are soon at 54, so we're getting there.
You are. You will be. I mean, it seems no time from your 50th.
I know.
You know, it just seems to like as if it was last year.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Slips round.
What is your? Is it Diamond 60th?
Oh, that's not 60. I'm 54 now. We'll be 54 in
I'm talking
September. But when we
about
get to
Billy.
yes, Billy, it's what do I think now? What is it? Golden's 50, isn't it? Diamond's 60.
Yes, yes. So what's 54?
Nearly halfway between 50 and 60.
Does that mean you don't know then what we should be buying you?
Exactly so.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Margaret doesn't need a present. 'Cause he just Then, I have to say to Kai and Tia,
Of course.
who were using my room as a
I
trampoline
think so.
today, and Caroline Laverty.
Ah,
I
there
see
you go.
Caroline's daughter every time I go up to the treatment room.
Ah, right,
You know, her
okay,
daughter
good.
works in there, and
Brilliant.
you always hear how she is.
That's
But
great.
there's loads and loads more, Roy, and you know, we're not leaving anybody out, but
No.
we will get. And thanks for all the messages.
Indeed.
Well, are we going back to Mildred?
Yes, we'll have one of Mildred's, and will we just say farewell and finish off on Mildred's?
We
then?
will indeed.
Okay. Thanks for joining us then today.
Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
There is a name I love to hear, I love to speak its worth. It sounds like music in my ear, the sweetest name on earth. Oh, to set me free. It tells me of his precious blood, the sinner's perfect plea. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. It tells of one whose loving heart can feel my deepest woe, who in each sorrow bears a part that none can bear below. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me.